Update. Last year, boyfriend 33 male quit his job without telling me, and now he refused to look for another job. I'm 31 female, tired of paying for everything. Original post. My boyfriend 33 male quit his job last year without telling me. I only found out 2 days before the rent was due, as we split everything 50-50 when I asked him for his part of the rent. When I asked, he simply told me he quit because he was tired of working at that place. Since then, I've been paying for everything, including rent, food, gas, bills, and anything he needs. I had to work 2 jobs while going to school for a while. It was hard, but I finally finished school a couple months ago and I found my dream job. I make enough to live comfortably, even take care of my boyfriend and still have money for savings. However, I still want him to get a job to support himself because I think as an adult, he needs a job. But I feel like he relies on me too much, and he thinks since my job pays well, he doesn't have any reason to work. He always says things like, "You make good money now, so maybe you could buy me my dream car," or "You should open a business for me to run." It bothers me a lot. I don't mind supporting my partner financially if there's a legit reason that prevents him from working, but it's not the case. He spends most of his time playing games, meeting up with friends, or just at home watching movies. I still have to do all the chores and take care of our dogs. His family thinks that he's been working to take care of me so that I can finish school, which is not true. Now they think I was able to finish school and got a good job all because of him. I don't even want to explain to them. I just want him to get a job and have a future. But when I try to talk to him, he told me I'm not being supportive, and now that I have a good job, I look down on him. What should I do? Is it even worth it to try to talk some sense into him? I don't want to start dating at this age, but I feel like I can't keep doing this. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You break up with him. He's not a partner. He's a freaking leech. Stop trying to control him and control what you can. Break up. Kick him out or move out. Find someone worthy of you. This. Stop being his sugar mama. You are incentivizing his laziness. Give him a hard deadline to resume paying his half of the bills. And if he fails, give him 30 days to move out. You can continue dating him when he's living in his own place, but I don't know why you would want to. Wow, you leave. You don't have a boyfriend. You have a dependent. Of course he's not getting a job. Why would he? You have proven to him that he doesn't need to because he's got a sugar mama. Him saying that you look down on him? It's manipulation. He wants you to feel bad. Supportive of what? Him sitting around playing games? Leave. Dating can actually be fun, and you can't want this for the rest of your life. I did feel bad when he said that, and he does that all the time. Every time I bring up something, he would start talking about how miserable his life is, and how I just make it worse. I admit that I stayed till now because I feel bad. And no, I don't want this for the rest of my life. I will move on and hopefully find someone who cares. Next time he tells you how miserable his life is, say, "Okay, I'm going to help with that and leave." Or make him leave, since he doesn't help/pay for anything. Also, you should correct his family's belief that he supported you through school. Don't perpetuate the lie that he is supporting you. You can do so much better. He's not a partner. I will have a talk with him this afternoon to tell him it's time to end things and he needs to move out. He will probably give me the "my life is miserable" talk again, but I think reading all these comments makes me realize I should feel bad for myself and not for him. I'm sure once he moves back to live with his family, they will reach out to me to tell me how good he has been treating me and how he helped me through school. They've done it before when I told them things weren't working for us, but I will tell them everything this time. I left an abusive household in a situation very similar to yours, but it went on for much longer, and I only wish I'd left sooner. As for dating at this age, I see you're 31. I met my husband at 34. He's wonderful, and we're happy in a healthy relationship. He has a great job and a small growing business. He does household chores, cooks meals, and is a great father to our child. He is respectful to me and communicates well. I don't look back to that awful, abusive, and manipulative situation from my past nowadays. Don't let this current situation make you quit your own future. and miss out on the happiness you deserve. Also, what his family thinks is irrelevant. Please don't stay in this. You're allowing yourself to be used and harmed. There's only misery ahead unless you realize you need to end it. It's better on the other side, free of this. Your comment gives me hope. I will probably not gonna date for a while after this, but just knowing that there's a chance that I can still meet someone who loves me really helps me feel better about my situation. I think once I resolve this and focus on myself more, I will be happier. Beside this relationship, everything else is going very well for me. I don't depend on anyone, so nothing will really change, except I will have one less thing to worry about. Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm glad to hear you're in a healthy relationship. Edit/mini update. I didn't expect this many comments. I can't reply to everyone, but I did read all the comments that I really appreciated. Many people have asked, why him? Why stay for years? What did I see in him? So I just want to answer it here. We started off pretty normal. We split everything 50-50, and I had no problem with that. But throughout the years, he started showing his true self. I was in school, and school was the most important thing to me at that point, so I invested all my time and energy into it. I was in a PhD program, so I had stipend of around $30,000 a year, which was enough for myself, but not for two people. We've been together for 8 years now. After he quit his job, I was very stressed out, but I had to focus on school and tried to do everything I could to survive. I didn't have time to really think about my personal life, and I also didn't want to go through any changes in life, so I just let it be. In addition, he guilt trips me a lot, so I feel bad for him. But now that I have a stable job, I have time to really think about my future, and I don't see myself being with him long term. I don't think it would be as easy as, hey, let's break up, because I know he wouldn't let it go that easy. But I'll start planning to get out. Maybe ask some friends for support. His name is not on the list, so I'll stay where I am and he'll have to move. Now for the full update. It's been 2 months since I posted about my situation on the sub, and I just want to give you an update of how things went after I made that post. Before I go into the details, I just want to say I really appreciate everyone here. After I resolved everything, I occasionally would go back to my original post and read the comments to remind myself that I've done the right thing. After posting on here, I went home from work that day and asked my friends to come over but stay in the parking lot while I sort things out with my now ex-boyfriend. Before I could even start the conversation, he told me his friend got a new car recently and how I should get him a car since I can afford it. I got really upset and told him he could have got himself a car if he was working. I told him how stressful it has been for me with him not working and fully relying on me. He started the "my life is already miserable and you're not being supportive" talk. I was sick of it, so I said I wanted to end things here and he needs to move out ASAP. As expected, he got upset and threw a tantrum. He was yelling, throwing stuff around, and when he realized I was being dead serious, he started threatening to hit one of my dogs. I jumped in between him and the dogs to stop him from harming them. Then he pushed me and grabbed me by my neck. I was able to get him off of me, put the dogs into a room, and called my friends to tell them to come in and call the police. He was trying to hit me, but my friends got there in time. I think he got scared when he saw my friends showed up, so he backed down, but he was still verbally telling them to get out of the way or he would hit them too. The police came, they took him away and told me he wouldn't be able to come into the apartment anymore. He had to move out, but would need to be escorted by the police if he wants to grab his stuff later. It was a horrible experience, but it showed me that I've done the right thing. I thought that was the end of everything, but his auntie called me when she found out and tried to gaslight me saying that he didn't do anything wrong, and I was just upset, so I called the police. I told myself that I no longer have to deal with this BS, so I told her to leave me alone and hung up. His family would continue to harass me, but stopped when I threatened to report them to the police. I continued to pay the rent and bills like how I've always been doing. The only thing that changed is I'm now so much happier. I'm the happiest I've ever been in years. I just got a promotion last week and I've been spending time enjoying life with the extra money I have since I'm no longer having to pay for his expenses. As for my ex, he's moved in with his aunt. I got a protection order, so we are not in contact at all. Wonderful update. Congrats to you. You're strong and capable, and now you can live in peace. Thank you. It feels great to wake up in the morning and don't have to worry about what kind of crap is he going to give me today. And OMG, the extra savings that I have, since I'm not longer financially responsible for a full-grown adult. Sending you an internet mom hug for being so wonderful. We are all glad to read that you have embraced your new life and are enjoying it. Don't forget that you're strong and that your story could help some other internet stranger to make a move to a better life as you did. Thank you. I've realized that all the uncertainties that I had before really don't mean anything. My life is only getting better, and I've received all the support I need from friends and family, and people on Reddit too. I'm so sorry you went through that. No one deserves to feel unsafe in their own home. You did a smart thing, calling your friends and the police. You are strong and so capable of having a fulfilling life that is all your own now. I'm very proud of you. I was expecting an ugly breakup, but not a violent one. I'm glad I had my friends there. Otherwise, I really don't know how things would turn out. I think your story should be a lesson to others. You had no reason to think a freeloader would become an abuser, and yet he did. It's always good to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. If you hadn't had friends on standby, things could have ended much more tragically. I am glad you took precautions. Too many times people assume, yeah, they'll be upset or hurt, but they would never hurt me. I also just thought that I'd have my friends there in case he refuses to leave. I wasn't expecting things to escalate that quickly. You were right. If my friends weren't there, things could have turned out much worse. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not paying my girlfriend's bills? I met my girlfriend 8 months ago. We lived in different cities, but I work remotely, so after doing the long-distance thing for a while and going back and forth between the two cities, she asked me to move in with her, since I don't really have to stay in the city I was. I was very reluctant at first due to the short period of time we were dating for, and the fact that I would be moving into her place, which creates an imbalance of power in the house. However, after she insisted for a while, I decided to move in with her. I am a software engineer making about $140K a year. She's a teacher making $45 to $50K a year. In my own apartment, my rent was $1,400. With utilities, I pay about $1,550 per month. She, on the other hand, rents a house for $2,400 because she has 3 dogs and a cat, and an apartment wouldn't be ideal. She also has a roommate paying half of her rent. I moved in last month, and the deal is I will be paying 2/3 of the bills. The roommate will be moving out soon, and after doing the calculations, my part amounts to $1,700, including utilities. She would pay about $750, which is way less than what she was paying before. For me, it's slightly more, but I don't mind since I make way more than her. However, since I moved in, she kept talking about wanting to be a stay-at-home wife/mom. I always brush it off, but yesterday she told me she hates her job and she won't be renewing her contract with the school, which means she won't have an income. She wants a different job, but she has no idea what she wants to do yet. So, she is counting on me to pay all the bills. She means I would be paying more than $1,000 than when I was living alone. Mind you, that's just for rent and utilities, food not included, and she has 2 big dogs which need taking care of. I could afford it if I wanted to, but I feel like I'm not ready to take care of her yet. And I have plans on saving more money to buy a house and other projects I have. She's not my wife. I don't want to be taking care of her 100%. And to be honest, I would have nothing to show for it either. So I told her I won't be able to pay the bills all by myself, and she made a face as if like I am being cheap. But now I feel like the whole reason she wanted me to move in so bad was because she wanted a backup plan for when she quits her job. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay everything? Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. Pack up and leave now. This, 100% this. Not a-hole and get the heck out while you can. This was her plan all along. Before she gets pregnant. That's what I said. Her next move is to baby trap him, so she can mooch as long as possible. And don't even have goodbye sex. Don't give her the remotest possible chance of getting pregnant. But now I feel like the whole reason she wanted me to move in so bad was because she wanted a backup plan for when she quits her job. You aren't her backup plan. You are the plan. Find someone naive enough to move in and start paying part of her bills. Then, spring on said person that roommate is out. And you take on responsibility for supporting her because you are too timid to GTFO. She's got some cheek, and you've got some pretty low basic street skills. Not a-hole. Next step, she'll baby trap him. Exactly. This is a classic tactic among predatory women who are looking for a guy to use as a personal ATM. Yeah, the fact that she wanted OP to move in so quickly is alarming. Just that fact alone doesn't necessarily mean ulterior motives. We've all gotten swept up in the honeymoon phase. But the fact that it worked out that she'd be paying less than she was before definitely raised my eyebrow. And then just straight up moving to, I'm gonna quit my job and be a stay-at-home partner, cements it. She's absolutely the type that would try and baby trap someone. Also, this might make me an a-hole, but I'd really struggle with a spouse wanting to be a house spouse or stay-at-home spouse. If we were parents, that's entirely different. But if there's no kids, I'm sorry. If I have to work, then so do you. Ideally, the stay-at-home partner does work, but at home. They handle the meal planning, shopping, cooking, laundry, and majority of the cleaning. Keeping a house going is a lot of work. It's also something that should be decided before moving in together when possible. Not a-hole. Am I the a-hole for getting my neighbor's car towed? I recently bought a house and moved in. The previous owner rented the house out to students and transformed a big part of the front yard into a parking space. My front yard is basically just 4 parking spaces. I live alone and basically only use one of the parking spaces. But while the painters, handymen, and gardeners for the backyard were there, they used the other parking spaces during the day because the nearest community parking spaces are half a kilometer from my house. So about a 5-minute walk. When they were done and I moved in, my elderly neighbor, who cannot walk without a cane, asked if she could continue the deal she made with the previous owner. She showed me the contract she made with the previous owner that states that she can use it in exchange for a home-cooked meal once a month. I told her she didn't have to give me anything as I understood her situation, but she insisted. So I signed a contract to let her use the space closest to her house. This went well for a couple of months before another house in the street was sold and the new neighbors asked if their handyman and painters could use the parking places until they were done, as it was not handy to make them walk all the way to and from their truck. It is not allowed to park on the street in my street. I told them it was fine, but only the handyman and painters can use the spaces. When they are done, I don't want others I did not make a deal with using my parking spaces, as I like to keep the spaces clear for my girlfriend, friends, and family when they are allowed to visit again. Fast forward a month, and the handyman and painters are finished with house, and the new neighbors started using the spaces. I told them this wasn't what we discussed, and that they had to leave. They told me that the spaces are community spaces, and she and her husband could use them as I didn't need 4 spaces for myself. I told her to move the cars, or I had them towed. They moved the cars and didn't use the spaces anymore for about a week. As soon as she parked her car there again, I immediately called a tow company, and half an hour later, her car got towed. The next day, she came up to me asking where her car went. I told her I had it towed because she parked in my front yard. My friends tell me I'm being a petty a-hole for having her car towed and should apologize. My girlfriend tells me I did the right thing, as they would have probably claimed my entire front yard as their personal parking places if I didn't make a point out of it. So am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It's absurd of her to claim that your private property is community space. She's acting very entitled, and you did the right thing by having her car towed. Hell, if anything happened to her car and it got scratched, she could sue you. You should probably put up a sign though. Parking only with explicit permission from the owner. All others will be towed. Maybe a camera too, just to make sure they don't try anything. That's actually a pretty good suggestion. I will look into having a sign made. Thanks. Not Dayhole. You warned them what would happen and they did it anyway. I don't understand why they would need to park there, and I don't think you have any moral obligation to let them slide. Plus, them trying to claim it as community parking, despite said parking being in your yard, is just ridiculous. They probably need to park there because a 5-minute walk would be the end of the world. My friends tell me I'm being a petty a-hole for having her car towed and should apologize. Easy. Tell your opinionated friends that they should let their neighbors park on their front lawn or driveway. Then, and only then, would the advice they offer and the reprimands they give you have an ounce of worth. You are the owner of your property and have a right to decide who can park there. Community spaces? Lol. The issue here are your neighbors who have no respect for your wishes and want to bend you to their desires. Continue to issue warnings and towings until the problem corrects itself. Not the a-hole. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for putting ugly one-way mirrors on the windows facing one of my neighbors because I saw the husband looking in my windows? I live in an apartment on the ground floor of a house that was converted to apartments. My neighbors, one straight over, but the back of their house faces the back of the house I live in, can see my whole backyard and vice versa. My apartment has a whole wall of windows that are on the back of the house. It's gorgeous and is a big reason I picked the place. I love keeping plants and it let in a lot of light. Looking out, there is the neighbor's backyard, which is large and comes up close to my place. The property line is maybe 10 or 15 feet from my windows. Once it has gotten to be warm out, I've noticed the husband of the family owns that house looking into my apartment a lot. Even sometimes I look up and see him, look away then look back minutes later and is still looking. So I started shutting the shades during the day. That was kind of annoying. My place is a dark cramped shoebox without the windows open. And I can't do that for too long because the plants were struggling without light. So I bought these window coverings that make windows into one-way mirrors. During the day when it is light out, my windows look just like mirrors now. From the inside, it looks pretty much the same. The windows look tinted, slightly darker, but that's it. From the outside, you can't see in at all. It looks exactly like mirrors. The section of windows it's applied to is about 8 feet high and 20 feet wide. After a week of the window coverings being up, both of the parents from the neighbor's house came to my door and wanted to talk to me. The wife was complaining about the windows for a lot of reasons. 1, they were ugly. 2, it wasn't comfortable, especially for the teens and their friends, to have a huge mirror adjacent to the swimming pool. It's at a time that they feel insecure about looks and they have lost interest in hanging out by the pool. 3, in the afternoon and evening, it was reflecting a lot of extra sunlight into their backyard. They couldn't enjoy eating dinner on the back porch with the sun in their eyes. I said sorry about the inconvenience, but I wanted it for privacy. They both pushed back on that some, and I said that I needed privacy because of the husband staring. He started denying it in front of his wife, and so I took out my phone where I'd taken pictures and sent it to my group of friends and showed her a couple pictures of him gaping at my apartment and the texts from that time. He got mad and said he incidentally looked over, and the 8 foot by 20 foot mirror was a crazy overreaction. I said that I'd like to keep it, and that I was sorry, but frankly, this was avoidable. I think they're both mad, because they called my landlord, who brushed them off. Am I the a-hole for putting the mirrored film on my windows? Not the a-hole. You proved that you needed privacy because your husband is a creep, and they're upset for being called out. You don't owe them anything, and if your landlord hasn't contacted you about it, then you don't need to do anything that you don't want to. He's only mentioned offhand that he got a call from the neighbors. He brushed them off, saying he didn't care and he just wanted to know how they got his number. I said I didn't give them his number and that maybe they found it on one of his listings online. That was it. Laughing my butt off. That conversation sure didn't go the way they thought it was gonna go, did it? They got all self-righteous and indignant about their poor teens with their low self-esteem and insecurity about their looks. And oh no, now they can't swim anymore and it's your fault. Honestly, what a load of steaming BS. I would have loved to hear the conversation between the wife and her husband when they got home. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You only put it up because he was staring at your window. Whatever his reason, that's pretty creepy, especially since it seems to be happening a lot. Tell them you'll only consider taking it down if they put up covers on their property which stop the husband from being able to see in your window. If they don't like it, then too bad. Any complaints from any other party who doesn't like it should also be directed to the peeping husband. Exactly this. Wish Opie had said how the wife reacted to the photos. Betcha creeper husband slept on a couch that night. She actually jumped to his defense, saying that when houses are so close, sometimes you end up looking towards neighbors' houses but not trying to, just looking off into the distance, thinking probably. Yeah, he was thinking real hard. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking for compensation for something my kid destroyed? We hired a babysitter we've had a few times at a good rate of $20 per hour since it was only for 3 hours in our home. The babysitter is a 19-year-old woman if it matters. I think maybe the age will affect something. My wife had to rush to work in an emergency, and I was already at work. The babysitter is already familiar with some of our rules, like our 3-year-old is only allowed in the living room, playroom, and dining room when eating. The babysitter, I guess, had an emergency herself and had to be on the phone for 20 minutes. For some reason, she decided to take the call outside. Her rationale was it was private and didn't want our child to listen in. In those 20 minutes, our daughter was able to move the couch to the living room gate, scale the gate, head into the basement, and pull one of my guitars off the wall. The neck is all warped, and my luthier said the neck needs to be replaced. I'm asking the babysitter to front the bill on a new guitar, not a repair or neck replacement, as the alternatives diminish the value of the guitar. Mismatching neck to body severely impacts value, and the neck repair does too. It's $2,200. Am I the a-hole here? Or is she? Her parents are telling us we're responsible. She's offering only to have babysat for free, and her friends are saying we're too harsh, but it was her responsibility, right? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Your valuables should be insured and locked up. Your baby gate should be secured. You are responsible for buying a couch that a literal baby can move. What kind of couch is that? You are responsible for interviewing, hiring, and training your employee. You are responsible for your minor child's actions. The babysitter is partially to blame, sure, but you also share a large portion of the blame. The babysitter would be responsible for a portion of the repair, not a brand new guitar. Your demand for a new guitar means you are trying to profit off this, and that's why you're the a-hole. Music shop manager here. I'd also like to point out that if the guitar's neck was warped and not broken, there's almost no way it could have been done by the babysitter/child. Necks only warped for a few different reasons. 1. Being stored in improper environments with unregulated humidity. Funny you mentioned he stores it in the basement, which can be the kiss of death if it's unfinished or without a humidity regulator. 2. Truss rod adjustments. 3. String over tension. 4. Having weight against the neck, say keeping it leaning at an angle against a wall for extended periods. Unless the child somehow made a truss rod adjustments, obviously not, it would have taken a very long time for that neck to warp. There's no way it could have been done in 20 minutes. Opie likely has his instruments stored improperly and as a result, caused his own neck to warp. I think this situation is reason for you to stop hiring her as your babysitter. But asking a 19-year-old to pay you $2,200 for something that was ultimately destroyed by your child is too much. She failed in her duty to supervise your child, so you're justified in not hiring her again. But other than that, how can you possibly expect her to pay you all that? It's just unreasonable, as is the fact that you're not asking her to repair your guitar, you're asking her for a new guitar. Come on, dude, you're the a-hole. I'm not sure the babysitter should have left the kid alone, but you're the a-hole. Accidents happen, and she wouldn't be babysitting for you if she had that kind of cash laying around. I would be more pissed the kid was able to get to the basement and move a couch. More importantly, is your kid a bodybuilder? Moving a couch is a feat. To recap, you have every right to be frustrated, but you're the a-hole for trying to get the babysitter to pay for something your kid damaged. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my nephew after he stole an important $50 bill from me? There's a story behind that bill, and it mattered a lot to me. My best friend Henry and I knew each other since we were in middle school. In high school, we were pretty adamant about being child-free and swore we'd never have kids. We decided to make a little bet though. First guy to have a kid owed the other $50. It was a dumb bet that didn't really take seriously, and I completely forgot about until 9 years later. I was with Henry at the diner once for lunch, and he slips me a $50 bill. It took me a minute, but when it clicked, I was so ecstatic. Still one of my fondest memories with him. Two grown men hugging it out at a diner in tears after giving me the news that he's going to be a dad for the first time. His daughter was born after that. I was honored to be her godfather. Then, unfortunately, we lost him all too soon when his little girl was 5. It's been 3 years since then, and I still miss him. We were like brothers, and I kept that bill as a memento. I see my goddaughter all the time, so the bill is also a reminder of the first time I learned of her existence. Kept it in a small box with other sentimental things of mine on top of a dresser in my room. My sister is staying with my wife and I, along with my 16-year-old nephew. They all know about this story, by the way. I've told them before many times. A few days ago, I noticed the box was in a different spot than where I left it, and that's when I discovered that the bill was gone. He eventually confessed what he did because I was frantically looking for it all over the place. My nephew needed the money because he wanted to take his girlfriend out to eat, but my sister wouldn't give him any cash since he spent all his allowance money. Honestly, I was so furious, and I'd ask him how he could do that, knowing that it was one of the few things I have of my best friend and he stole it. My nephew kept apologizing, but I couldn't look at him. My emotions were a little too strong, and I just wanted to get away from him before I started yelling. My sister offered to pay me back, but she damn well knows that's not the same. However, she's saying I'm being too hard on him because I've been ignoring him the last couple of days and is feeling ashamed enough. She's apologized on his behalf, but does think I'm taking it too far. Right now, it's still all fresh for me. That bill was important to me because of the memory it holds. Now it's lost, and I'll never get it back. I'm not at a place where I want to talk to him yet, but my sister feels I'm being somewhat of an A by punishing him like this as he's already learned his lesson. I'd just like to know if I am. Not day-hole. I doubt there will ever be anything this boy can do to mend the pain he has caused. And as sad as that is, he is 16 and needs to take accountability for his selfishness. His mother really needs to look at herself because she raised a child who decided, knowing the context, that his actions would be acceptable. Truly horrible situation, and I am so very sorry for you. I would recommend you go to the place they ate to see if the owner still has it, as generally places only do banking once a week, so you may get lucky. Thank you. Don't think there'd be much luck there, unfortunately. He said he broke the bill at the CVS before they went to go eat. I don't see ever getting it back, and that still stings. It might be worth going to CVS to see if they still have it. Do you have any pictures of the bill where you can see the serial number? Or by process of elimination based on the date? Not day-hole. I mean, at a bare minimum, he stole your money. More than that, he stole an important memento he knew about. At 16, I can't help but think it was calculated. He's not sorry he did it. He's just sorry he got caught. I'd weighed on the side of it being impulsive and thinking myself. It would also have been relatively easy for him not to fess up. I suspect he's regretting having done so. Am I the a-hole for refusing to open the door for my sister when she brought her kids to stay with me? This is an ongoing conflict. Yesterday at 11 a.m. I was alone at home. Dear husband went to work early and I was just starting my daily cleaning routine when the bell rang. I, female 30, peeked through the hole and saw my sister, female 36, and her 3 kids, 5, 3, and 2. I did not open the door and talk to her behind it, and I'll explain why in a minute. She said she had an argument with her chronically ill husband, male 34, and wanted to once again punish him by keeping the kids away from him, until he apologized to her for what he said, which was regular argument stuff. Explanation. She started doing this when he got sick. Every time she gets in an argument with my brother-in-law, she'd take the kids and refuses to bring them back till I apologize to her. He has a medical condition that prevents him from getting outside the house, and she's been using that. And instead of taking the kids to our aunt's house this time, she brought them to me since aunt is out of town. She asked that I take the kids for 2 days, but I refused and pointed out how unacceptable and wrong for her to punish her husband who's already sick, and using the fact that he can't drive to go pick his kids up or at least see them against him. She'd keep them away for days. She started talking about how her husband doesn't care about her hurt feelings and how much she does for him. Also, how this method has proven to be effective since it got him to recognize his wrongdoings and apologize. But I replied that he probably was only apologizing just to see the kids. I said it wasn't fair for the kids either, but she said they agreed to stay with me and told me to open the door because they missed me so much. I refused and said I won't be responsible when brother-in-law finally decides to do something about this and get the cops involved. She yelled that she's their mother, so the cops won't do a damn thing about it, and assured me my brother-in-law would never do that knowing how much she's cared for him. But I stood my ground and said I won't be opening the door. Period. She yelled saying I was unsupportive and selfish to keep my nieces and nephew out, and refused to open the door for them. I suggested she go work her issues out like a rational adult, and stop pulling cruel stunts that affects her husband and the kids' emotional/mental health. She took offense to that, and said I was clearly on my brother-in-law's side. She shamed me in front of the kids for 10+ minutes, then left. Hours later, my dad, who lives in another town, called, shaming and berating me for not opening the door for his grandchildren, as well as insulting my sister and siding against her. I explained my reasons, but he said the kids are with my cousin and insisted I go pick them up. My husband said I should have opened the door for the kids, and that he could see how Dad would be upset with me for not taking the kids in till my sister's conflict with her husband is resolved. He wants me to go pick the kids up, but I keep refusing. But I feel like I'm unsupportive of my sister. More details about my brother-in-law. He has a chronic illness that's gotten worse lately, and limited his ability to do most things. To my knowledge, he wears catheter, wears a cannula and a medical device so he can't drive or walk outside a house. My parents never liked him because he was already sick when my sister married him, and said she was wasting her life with him, but she always says she loves him. But I'm not even sure judging by her recent actions. Now for the top comments. Not today home. Do not go and pick up the kids. Get in touch with CPS instead to explain the situation. CPS for the kids and Adult Protective Services for the husband. Both need to be called now. Not today hall for the OP. Not today hall. Your sister is weaponizing her kids against a guy who can't fight back. The guy's chronically ill and can't even leave the house to get them. She is abusive. There, I said it. She shouldn't worry about the cops getting involved. It's civil at this point. But boy, if husband gets a lawyer involved, will he have ammunition against her. Her husband, if he doesn't divorce her, will resent her. Probably already does. And her kids, when they're old enough to figure out what she's doing, will resent her. He can't physically take care of himself, let alone 3 kids. I don't think he can get custody. Not stay home. There's something deeply wrong with your family's dynamic here. That your dad is encouraging this is bizarre. It sounds like you need to lay down some firm boundaries with him. Oh yeah, of course my dad is on her side. She's his favorite daughter. There, I said it bluntly. What can I possibly do with them? It's helpless. And they have been putting more pressure on me and side-eyeing me for allegedly siding with my brother-in-law. The man is enough to deal with, and doesn't need these pathetic games my sister keeps playing. Next story. Am I the a-hole for forcing him to hold up his end of the bargain? Long story short, 3 years ago my fiancé's mom was trying to leave a relationship and needed a place to stay. At that time, we lived in a very small, cramped 2-bedroom apartment, with a second bedroom converted into my office because I work from home and need a space for my employment equipment. 2 monitors, printer, fax, filing cabinets, etc. Despite me saying that I truly didn't want to give up my space, he begged and pleaded until I finally gave in. He said, and I quote, "When the day comes, I would do the same for you if your family ever needed it." I was honestly still far, far from happy, because realistically speaking, his mom didn't need a place to go at all. The house her and her boyfriend had was in fact hers, and she had owned it for years. So why she was the one who moved out is beyond me. It wasn't a toxic relationship. She just wasn't feeling it anymore. Fast forward 2 months of her staying. She has completely taken over my office space, and I have my equipment set up in the only other spot available, directly in front of my TV. She moves out and back in with her boyfriend. Never paid a dime and didn't even bother taking most of her things with her, which took me more than 3 days to clear out with my fiancé. Not impressed. Anyhow, we upgrade. We bought a 4-bedroom home last year with a plan of expanding our family. This was prior to finding out he is infertile. It sucks, but honestly, it is what it is. I'm not wildly upset about it. However, my mom just lost her home due to foreclosure. She was renting, and her landlord didn't pay his rent, so the house was foreclosed. And she was given a 3-day notice to quit. My mom has my siblings with her, 14-year-old twins. Very well behaved and clean kids. She needs a place to go, and we have 2 rooms available. I bring it up with my fiancé, and he immediately says he isn't comfortable with it, and that he doesn't want his home to feel like it isn't his by allowing other people to move in and take over. So I brought up his agreement years back, and stated that I allowed his mother to move in for literally no reason, whereas my mother legit needs a place. He is now saying that that was years ago, and the situation is 100% different because there was 2 teenagers running the house when his mom moved in. He says I'm an a-hole for trying to force this on him and make him do something he isn't comfortable with. Am I the a-hole? I have no words, Opie. I would rethink the fiancé's status. He's up to bat and proving he doesn't value your family the way he demands you to value his. How about offering him to stay with his mommy dearest if he can't fathom sharing a 4-bedroom home with your siblings for a short period of time? I mean, she should return the favor, right? Not today, home. You deserve better. Also, the intention was to eventually have a kid or more with you. Does he assume a child wouldn't grow into a teenager? Unfortunately, some parents like little kids and only want little kids. Once they stop being cute to them, they don't give them the same amount of attention and love that they did when they were toddlers. So, they have more. I knew a guy who just kept having children over and over with his wife, but he showed a lot of neglect and distaste towards his teenage son, who was often forced to babysit the younger kids. Mysteriously, though, he was always very active and loving with the toddlers. Wait. He wanted you to give up space that you used for work purposes / paycheck purposes for his mother who had literally no reason to leave her own home that she legitimately owns. Then he says that your mother with 2 teenagers who are presumably easier to handle than, say, toddlers, aren't allowed in any of the 2 extra bedrooms, assuming one is used for your workspace, even though there were circumstances beyond her control that made her homeless. I'm assuming your mother only lost her home, and I am also assuming she did not lose her job, that she isn't subsisting predominantly in any welfare programs like Section 8 housing or other such housing subsidies. And if this is the case, then it sounds like a very temporary arrangement. Your mother does otherwise have the means to afford her own place, but just needs time to save for it. Am I correct in assuming this? Otherwise, I don't know if there is possibly any extra info to ask for that would ever make me think the contrary. But you are not stay home. You are correct. So my mother is a full-time RN, 12 years strong. She would pay rent and not expect to live for free, despite me never asking. Which is more than I can say for his mother who didn't lift a finger to help with the bills or cleaning. My mom is also a clean freak, so I know our home would never be in shambles. Not today, home, but why are you in this relationship? It sounds like he doesn't care about you or your family. Oddly enough, this is actually the first time something like this has ever arose. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my son's wife out? So my son got married super early, 18, and I supported him but also expressed my grievances. Anyways, his wife has always hated me for anything I do. I've tried to extend an olive branch, but she always rejects it. Him and his wife fell on quite hard times after my son lost his job, and my son has been fine living with me but his wife wasn't. She complains about anything and everything I do. She hates my cooking, but if my son heats her up a bowl, it's the best thing ever. If I clean the whole house plus the room they're staying in, he always misses a spot. Never a thank you or anything. Yesterday, I decided I didn't want to be treated like this anymore, and told her that I don't know where this hostility was coming from. And if she doesn't at least try to get to know me, then she can leave. She proceeded to call me the B-word, so I gave her 30 days to move out. My son said that was too harsh and to just deal with it, but I already have for a long time. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edited to add, I found out why daughter-in-law has been treating me like this. My son told her that I resent her for taking my son. I don't know why I told her that, but it is what it is. Info, I'm kicking my son out too. Not today, home. Married adults acting like children. No one is entitled to your house. 30 days is generous. There is no reason why either of them cannot find work right now. Jumping in top comment to add, based on Opie's edit. It does not matter that Son told her you resent her. You're not acting like it. You house them, you feed them, you clean for them. You are treating them with respect and love, so at the very least, she should be respectful and polite. She should be doing these tasks herself as a thank you for letting them live with you and supporting them. But why in the world would your son say something like that? They both sound too immature to be married. Not today, home. You are giving them a place to stay, food to eat, and other living necessities. It is your house, and you have a right to kick them out if they aren't pulling their weight, especially if she's disrespectful towards you at every corner. It boggles my mind. My husband and I lived with my in-laws shortly after getting married, as we were in the middle of finding a place of our own. We didn't pay rent, so instead we cooked, cleaned, went grocery shopping, did maintenance. Family or not, adults have to contribute to the household in one way or another. The disrespect is the final straw. No one should expect free housing, food, maid service, then disrespect a person providing all of that. I'm glad you stood up for yourself, Opie. Not today, home. Nobody should have put up with this kind of disrespect and hostility in their own home. You welcomed this person into your home and shown them kindness in their time of need. I can't even begin to understand how she has the nerve to treat you and talk to you this way. Any normal person would be thankful and do their best to be respectful and helpful around the house. Info. How does your son feel about the way she talks to you? Has he actually heard the things she says to you, / how does he react? He rarely hears, and if he does, then he pretends he didn't. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents their divorce was hard on me even if they were still friendly afterward? I'm 24 female, I'm expecting my first child, and the event brought up some issues between my parents and me. When I was 8, my parents divorced. They still got along okay, but didn't want to be together anymore and worked on co-parenting and making things easier for me and my brother who was 10. It was better than some of my friends had it, but still hard. I mourned the family life I had enjoyed before. Having one home where both parents live and where we were just a family, not two families with different kids in one, and a new person who is considered your parents by everyone but you, and where it's weird because everyone thinks them getting along made it, so there was no struggling. But then people just think you fall madly in love with a nice person your parent marries, and readily accept a new person in a position of a parent. They think it makes jumping between homes easier. It does somewhat. If we forgot something at mom's or dad's, the other would bring us to pick it up with no drama. But I used to long for the days where I had a home. When my brother was 17 and coming up on graduation, my parents told him all 4 parents were going to do the graduation dinner for the graduating kid and parents. And he told them no, because he only had 2 parents and only mom and dad could go. They said he had 4, that the steps were just as good parents, and he told them no. The relationship changed after that. It was only with me becoming a mom they expected me to side with them over what had happened, and for me to say everything was perfect with a divorce. I told them it wasn't. That the divorce was hard on me despite how well they got along. That I was so happy they were happy and had better lives now. But divorce is always going to be something to adjust to for a kid regardless of circumstances, and they can't keep forcing us to say otherwise. They called me childish, and we haven't spoken since. Am I the a-hole? Not today, home. You expressed a perfectly valid emotion, and did so in a non-judgmental way. It was not childish. The reaction was though. Not today, home. It was understandable. You can't adapt immediately. It takes time. You were right to tell them that. You were respectful and reasonable. My parents broke up when I was 19 and no longer lived at home. I was an adult and it still sucked so bad. Still shattered my world. I can't even fathom how awful it must be for a child. It's something you might possibly never get over, and I don't see why should you lie if someone asks you how you felt about it. Not today, home. You and your brother are entitled to your feelings, and your parents are denying them. Are they expecting you to have your step-parents be called grandpa and grandma by your kid? They will be, because it will save so much drama to let it happen. You're the a-hole. What would you rather have happen between your parents? What is your ideal way of having them resolve this issue of divorce? Because from where I'm at, they seem to be really fair to you and your brother. Would you rather force 2 people to be unhappy while you grow up ignorant to their problems and their feelings? Or that they did what they did and end a marriage amicably? Your feelings are valid for sure, but that doesn't mean you aren't an a-hole. If you or your brother were mistreated in any way, I would understand how you feel about your step-parents. But you said they were the nicest, yet you alienated them, and they're still there trying to have some sort of a relationship with you. Your brother's reaction, although valid because of how he feels, is still unfair to 4 people who really didn't do anything wrong to him or you. And this is all based off of the info you have provided. If they mistreated you, let us know. But if not, you guys are the a-hole. You can both be the a-hole and still have valid feelings. I don't know how other people on here can't see that. They never mistreated us, and I never said they should stay married. Acknowledging our feelings would be nice though. I have acknowledged theirs, and I agree that what they did was for the best. But that doesn't mean it wasn't hard. And not all relationships look the same. My step-parents are nice people, but they are not my parents. I do not love them or care about them the same as my parents. I always include them though, but never ever complain to them about having to. It would just be nice to not have them decide what my feelings are about all this.